I mean, people are concerned, aren't they, about seeing officers with machine guns. I mean, I personally like seeing officers with machine guns wherever they're walking around. But if they are walking around with machine guns, they should perhaps be a bit more open about why they're doing that.
Tony from Nottingham hits the nail on the head and is quite likely to put me out of a job as a crime and policing commentator. He was absolutely spot on, the fella. And the point that he raises, and this was Surrey Police, who this week were utterly deceitful, deceptive and dishonest when they said that if you see armed police officers around a Christmas market this week, OK, it's just routine patrols. No, it's not routine patrols. It's because there is a clear terrorism threat from Islamic fundamentalists who have done in the past, over here and in the mainline, driven vans into crowds of people, hacked people to death and want to commit mass murder. So that's why they're there. And what they did, when they posted that, Surrey Police, all the public went on and said exactly what they should be saying. This is deceptive, this is not true. They then shut down the comments and just put out some more woke,
again, you know, they treat
nonsense.
people like they're stupid, which is a very bad idea, a very big mistake. Meanwhile, we await, and this is a good opportunity to mention it, the response to the Manchester police incident at the Manchester airport, which was now, what, more than... it happened before, I think.
End of July.
End of July, I mean, just about into the beginning of the Starmer premiership, and we still haven't heard anything. And people ask me pretty much every day what's going on with Manchester, and every day we hear nothing.
Well, so there's two investigations going on into that. Well, in fact, Greater Manchester Police finished their investigation in the middle of August and sent their file to the Crown Prosecution
CPS,
Service for them to make a decision over what charges should be brought. And there's also the Independent Office of Police Conduct investigation going on into the actions of the police officer whose first clip was originally shown of him stamping on somebody. What I strongly suspect now is that those two organisations, those two very powerful parts of the state machinery, are conspiring to release their findings at the same time. And quite possibly in January or February, because never in the history of the UK have people rioted in those months.
It's too cold and dark and dank. Absolutely right. Interesting. Let's talk a little bit about the story on the front page of the Telegraph today, also about policing. Police allow staff investigating child abuse and sex offences to work from home. This is a Daily Telegraph investigation. Now, if they can't get these guys to work on the streets, actually going to visit people, then what chance have we got that the new Keir Starmer initiative is going to work?
This story resonates very powerfully with me because my wife, in her glittering, longer than 30-year police career, spent over 16 years doing exactly this type of work, investigating allegations of sex offences against children. In other words, she locked up scores of paedophiles. OK? Very important work, very challenging work, emotionally as well.
I'm sure.
And it was vital that she worked together as a team so that with these investigations, sometimes something can happen very dynamically. A witness may suddenly come forward, a victim may quickly be interviewed and send the investigation off in a direction which requires some immediate action. In other words, a door has got to be smashed in. A dangerous paedophile has got to be arrested as quickly as possible.
Or he's on a train or something and you've got to get to the station so that you can get him.
Exactly. And in order to do that, you might need to get an authority from your detective inspector. And you need that detective inspector in his or her office at the end of your office.
So you can run in there and go, we need this now.
You can go in there, Governor, some advice, please. An authority, please. We need to move dynamically. Excuse me, colleague, who's got the car, please? Can somebody get the door opener? Can we go? Can somebody go to the magistrate and get a warrant, please? Can we all move dynamically and respond to this development in the case and be effective?
And you're getting the same car from the same point at which you actually are starting.
Exactly. That kind of helps.
And this can't happen if, obviously, the police are saying that high-harm, sensitive job handling scenarios are advertised at the moment, funded by the taxpayer, which allow working from home.
And let me tell you a very important part about this, and I'm going to sound very 2024 now, but it's really important for cops that get involved in this kind of work, and it was welfare. Welfare. My wife would often come home having had a very traumatic day.
Yeah.
As her husband, it was only right that I am there for her to offload onto me. To help her just offload it, I maybe open a bottle of wine so we can have a drink together. And then once she's done that, she's able to compartmentalise her life. She's offloaded it. We'll then prepare a bit of dinner, change the subject completely, watch telly, do whatever it is we want to do. And that was how she often dealt with it. Now, if you're working from home and you're having those pressures and you're having to see
there's no delineation
images, or where's the demarcation line? When are you actually off duty? When can you decompress? With whom and where?
Exactly right. Point. It's a really good point, that. How about this from Roger, who says, Mike, I've just got back from Vienna, and the only thing I found on the streets there is complete respect, lots of smiles from the locals, not one masked-up electric cyclist anywhere. They're all in Britain, I'm afraid. They're all here. Graham from Bushy, will Starmer count down his number of mission statements today? Well, we hope so. Glenn from Leeds says... What? Here we go. Let's do it.
3, 2, 1... Yay!
Glenn from Leeds says the same. Morning, Mike. What time is the Keith's relaunch? Will he give us a countdown so we don't miss it starting? John Major had more charisma than this stiff. Absolutely true. Let's get a voice note from Trevor.
Hi guys, hope you're well. Trevor here from Norwich. Just listening to your show as I'm travelling into work. We've got an issue with the police, and I tend to link it a lot to what Mr. Peter Hitchens says, which is that we have a very much a reactionary police force. I don't see the police anywhere. I drive along, maybe you see them towards Christmas a bit, tucked away in lay-bys, but bar that, I don't see them out and about. I don't see police. I don't see any force there which is preventing criminals from thinking twice before acting. And we've found ourselves in a sorry state right now. Trusting the police force is just out the window.
I think that's part of the problem, isn't it? And I mean, the Labour government actually admit that in their reset document, which is not a reset. Thanks, Trevor, for that. We're going to talk coming up about the BBC. A couple of stories still knocking around. Greg Wallace still on the front page of The Sun. Also, Clive Myrie, who apparently makes a pretty penny doing speeches outside of the BBC. Apparently forgot to tell them. Made a couple of £100,000 and, you know, he's so wealthy, he forgot to mention it.
To put it on the list that he's compelled to do.
Exactly,
Also, into the register.
Also, we'll talk about British Army, because there was a speech made last night in London by senior military people saying basically if there was a war, we'd be stooped, to put it frankly. This is Talk.